This is my favorite thing about film photography. Welcome back to the Mr. Negative channel. Today I'm going to take you through what is my favorite thing about film photography, and that is being involved in the whole process from start to finish, from the photo shoot concept, doing the photo shoot, and then coming back and developing my own film and scanning it myself to get the desired end product that I'm after. Now, developing film is not going to be for everyone, of course. Some people just like to stick a roll in their point and shoot and then drop it off at the lab and, happy days. But for a lot of us, we want full control and we want to know, like, how do we get those sweet film pics that we see on IG? Because oftentimes we drop our film off to the lab, and even if we're shooting the same film, we're dropping it off at multiple labs and we're getting like very different results, like inconsistent results each time. And that's kind of why I started this business. I was shooting Portra 400, I'd drop it off at one lab and get weird results, drop it off at another, maybe was happy with those results, and I could never tell what was going on. Was it my exposure? What was I doing, or what was the lab doing to cause this end result that I was sometimes happy with and was sometimes not happy with? So the best way to eliminate any issues at all is just be involved in the process from start to finish, and through that, like, I can't talk it up enough. Like, it is absolutely like the number one rewarding thing to go from an idea and then process your own film and scan it the way you like it to come out to have that finished product exactly how you want. So let's jump in. Now, for this video, I wanted to keep things pretty simple for people that are just starting out. So what we're going to do is we're going to head out and shoot with my point and shoot. Now, this is a Canon AS1, which is originally a waterproof camera. However, I don't dare to take it underwater, especially since the light seals and the water sealing in here is probably not equipped to last as long as it actually has. One quick tip I'll give you too, which I do with all of my point and shoots, even if they've got light leaks or not, as soon as I buy a point and shoot and it's got a film window, what I do is I put a bit of gaffer tape over the film window, so therefore I'm never going to have any light leaks in that particular film window, because these older cameras, the light seals are prone to getting light leaks in right there. Now, the film I'm going to shoot is something you can get everywhere as well, which is Ilford HP5. And so, in an autofocus point and shoot, Ilford HP5, and then we're going to process black and white, which is probably the easiest of the chemical processes to process. So let's dive in. Now we're back at home, let's see how we go about developing. Now for black and white, we have a developer, a stop bath, a fixer, and then a wetting agent. I use Kodak Photo Flow for that. Now the developer, stop bath and fixer, they're all from Ilford and they're available on my website. They're quite economical as well. So for some of these, you mix 1+19 dilution, which means you take 500 ml, for example, which are in these bottles here, and you divide that by 20. So you'd have 25 ml of the stop bath, and then put 475 ml of water in, and that would make your working solution. So as you can see, you can get quite a lot of bang for your buck, because yeah, each one of these chemicals is around $25 to $30. One other thing I want to mention is that it's very important to label your chemicals. I like to put the name of the chemical on the lid as well as on the front and also on the back, because the last thing we want is some chemical contamination, because there is no undo button with film photography. Now, first thing I'm going to do is retrieve the film from the film cassette, and I'm going to use none other than the Film Picker 4. Now, this is the best film picker in the world. I've tried using other film pickers with minimal success, whereas this one, every time I use it, it works 100% of the time. And these are going to be available on my website very soon. So all you do is stick the tongue in to the cassette, push the first thing up. I'll just might twist that a little bit to get it in. And then as soon as you hear a click, push the second one up, and then I wind back just a little bit, and then Bob's your uncle. So the next thing I'm going to do is just cut a rounded edge on the film like that. So therefore it's not going to get caught on the reel. And I've already done a video on how to load a Jobo reel, so you can check that out on my YouTube. But basically I just stick the film in there like that, pull a little bit through, and then that goes in the changing bag with the scissors, and I put that on in the dark. Okay, so now we have the film loaded into the tank. Now this is a Jobo 1510 tank, and it fits one 35mm film, and it really helps save chemistry. So if you're only doing one roll, you only need to do a small little tank like this. And if you have a look on here, 140mm if you've got it on rotation. And today I'm doing hand inversion, so we're going to need 250mm of working solution. So the next thing we're going to do is jump on this app here, which I have, which is called Massive Dev Chart. Now, what I'm going to do is I am going to select my film, which is HP5, and then I'm going to go through and select my developer, and this developer in particular is Ilford 3. So I select that, Ilford 3 1+9 dilution, and I can also then select my ISO, which is ISO 400. I shot it at box speed. And now you can see it says 6 minutes 30 for the developer at 20 degrees. And then it's going to be followed by a minute stop bath and then 5 minutes fixing. All right, let's dive in. So first in goes the developer. And we're going to put all of this developer in because I've mixed up 250ml, just enough to go into the tank and fill it. And we will start. Put the lid on, and that clicking noise, as you can see down in the corner as well, you've got the rotating happening, so you just do the inversions until the clicking stops and just keep it nice and simple. All you have to do is follow the app and do what the app says. And I just give it a little tap like that to make sure that there's no air bubbles in there. And then we just let it sit, and it's only the first 10 seconds of every minute that we need to do the inversion again. And just invert again. Give it a tap. All right, so that's it for the developer. So I'll pour this back in here. However, we can't reuse the developer. It's just a one shot. Let's pour it in here to get it out. Cool, and I always put the lid back on before I do anything else so I don't spill anything all over the place. Okay, so next is the stop bath. And this is going in for 1 minute. Okay, now we're done with the stop bath. We'll pour that back in. Now we'll go downtown with the fixer. Okay, and okay, so that's the end of the fixing. So it's basically the end of our developing cycle. So when this little timer goes off, I will pour the fixer out. Now the fixer and the stop bath can be reused, which is fantastic. I probably wouldn't store them for too long. You can have a look at the instructions on the Ilford website, which will tell you how long each chemical lasts. Right, now we're going to head over and give it a rinse. So now we're in the sink and we're giving it a little rinse. The app says to rinse it for 10 minutes. I mean, I don't know that we need to go that far with it. I usually just fill the tank up and empty it a few times and take the lid off and I just kind of push the reel up and down like that, and that helps flush all the chemicals off as well. So now we're in the bathroom where the magic happens, and what I like to do is, well, some people pour the photo flow actually in the tank while the film is still on the reel. What I like to do is pour the photo flow in a clean jug, like so. Then I put the jug down here and I get the film and I crack open the reel by twisting it, bring it off like that, and then I just dump the film into the photo flow like that. Doesn't need to be in there that long. In fact, it can be in there just an instant, but depending on how much time I have, I'll just leave it in there for a few seconds. Then after that, what I do is I look for the end of the film, just here, like that, and I just pull it slowly out of the solution, like that, and then hang it up. Now, I don't go down it with a squeegee or with my fingers or anything like that. The photo flow itself just helps the water all bead off naturally, so there's no need for me to try and wipe anything off. It'll all just go down there. And then last but not least, I'll use these film clips here. So these are Patterson film clips, and they're absolutely fantastic. So you've got one that you put at the bottom that's quite heavy, and they actually clip into the film, so there's no chance of them coming off, which is really, really fantastic. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this kind of drip dry for a while before I put it in the film dryer. That's just a thing that I've always done because I want to make sure that all of that water is completely beaded off before I put it into the film dryer. But I was actually going to do a joke and I completely forgot. I was going to pull the first bit out and say that there was nothing on the roll, but I messed that up. But as you can see, we have our lovely photos. These are upside down at the moment of Kobo, but they have definitely been developed, which is great. So we'll wait for this to drip dry and then we will put it in the film dryer. Okay, so I'm going to put this other clip on the top and clip it in, so therefore we're nice and secure. And this film dryer here, it's pretty much the only thing that is available, and Jobo make these to actually get, you know, one of the old big metal ones is quite hard to get your hands on these days. So these are not really that cheap, but once again, who else makes one? You've got no choice, you're locked in. So I'm just going to shove this on now for 30 minutes on high, and our film will be dry and ready to scan. Now most people would choose a Noritsu scanner for black and white, but I chose the Frontier for this particular role as the vibe I was after was a more dirty and lo-fi look. Another deciding factor for this role was the fact that on one of my photos the flash didn't go off, so it was slightly underexposed. And to my surprise, the Frontier actually saved this photo better than the Noritsu did on this occasion, when usually it's the other way around. One of the main reasons that most people prefer the Noritsu over the Frontier for black and white is the Noritsu has a deeper black and white look out of the box, whereas the Frontier can be a little sepia looking. As I like the overall vibe better on the Frontier, I chose to just tweak the colour in Lightroom simply by selecting the black and white profile and adjusting to taste. Now as you can see on this first photo here, this is a prime example of why when you drop your film off at different labs, you get different results. Now, straight off the bat with the scanners, you still need to adjust them. You need to adjust the density, and for color, sometimes you need to adjust the color. So there's a lot of labs out there that are just focused on purely pumping through the volume. And so they have their scanners set on automatic, and so there's no adjustments made. And that's why you get strange results differing from lab to lab. And also, you know, because you can actually adjust everything here, it comes down to the vision of the lab tech as well. So if you've got someone that really doesn't have an eye for color or know what they're doing, then you're going to be getting a pretty bad result. And there's lots of settings on these scanners that you can change that can be the real big difference between something that looks fantastic and something that looks really, really average. So a lot of people ask me, you know, what's the best scanner, the Noritsu or the Frontier? And I know there's a lot of people out there that, you know, they have their preference for this and that. But for me, to be completely honest, it's not about the particular film type or what I'm shooting. It comes down to literally the individual role. Like, you know, sometimes I'll scan on the Frontier and the Noritsu and they'll both look quite similar. Other times I'll scan on the Frontier, I won't like it, so I'll go on the Noritsu and I'll be more happy with that result. And then sometimes vice versa, I'll scan first on the Noritsu, really dislike the result, and then scan on the Frontier and I'll be like, wow, this is where I want to be. So yeah, my advice would be, you know, to try both scanners on every roll, but I don't know if that's really possible for everyone to be asking the lab each time to scan on both scanners. I think if you're really serious about film photography, you know, I would suggest that the best possible thing to do is to buy your own scanner. Look, DSLR scanning is great, and for black and white, I think that's definitely going to be able to get you out of trouble. But having DSLR scanned myself in the past, what I will say is you do need to be a bit cautious about what camera you're using. For example, I was using the Fuji XS10, and whatever it is about the Fuji sensors, it doesn't capture the grain properly. The grain, when you zoom in, the grain looks like little worms all squiggling together. And that's why for me personally, you just cannot beat the lab scanners. Like these scanners are literally designed at the peak of film photography, and they're designed specifically to capture the look of film, or what I consider anyway to be the best representation of film. So with all that said, let's head out and look at the last of the photos. Thanks for tuning in again, and if you've enjoyed this content, please head over to mrnegative.com.au and spend at least $2,000 or $3,000. I'd really appreciate it. And also, if you can get your whole family to subscribe to my channel, I would really appreciate that as well, and get everyone you know to like the video. And until then, until next time, I'll see you later. Bye.
Move around a little bit. Maybe something different, maybe leaning against the wall, moving around a little bit.
I can't move, sorry. Oh my god. Mom, this is not real, okay?